Hi everyone. I'll be presenting our work, which was published last year at the International Conference for Computer Vision. So this is a joint work with my two advisors, Oswald Lenz and Andrea Cavallaro. So we start off by defining the problem. So we're having a video of a person performing an action from a certain viewpoint. And the goal is to synthesize the same video as seen from another viewpoint. So in order to do that, we need some priors or modalities in order to synthesize the target view. So the challenges of this problem is actually how we would estimate the target view modalities, and once we have that, how we would perform the synthesis task. And one key challenges of this problem that is different from the image-based novel view synthesis is to keep track of the temporal consistency across frames. So the assumptions of this problem is we are giving the input view information, which is the RGB stream and other modalities such as depth or skeleton, for example. For the first sub-problem of the target view modality estimation, we're having the camera calibration parameters. So for in the example of depth, we're having the input view depth and the along with the parameters of the target view. We would go through an estimation pipeline in order to estimate the target view depth. So the second sub-problem is the synthesis task, which is the main contribution of our work. So we're having the target view modalities along with the input view video, and the goal is actually to model a function or a generator in order to synthesize the target view. So one possible application of these problems is scene understanding. For example, in action recognition. So let's imagine that we have a data set of action collected from certain viewpoint. So now using the generator, we can synthesize further the same action seen from a different viewpoint, and we can combine the generated data set along with the original one in order to enhance the classifier for the target task, which is action recognition in this case. So our problem is related to pose-guided image synthesis, where the problem is given an image of a person on a certain pose, along with the target pose, we want to synthesize the same person as seen from the target pose. So one limitation of this problem is the view information is implicitly learned. So what we mean by that is that the target pose actually is not restricted to be on the novel view. It could be captured from the same view, but the pose is just different. And another limitation of this class of method is that the type of model that you use do not explicitly handle the temporal consistency. So we propose to approach the problem using the view decomposition assumption, which says that all the views share common information and view specific one. So let's pick up an example where a person is performing an action, let's say from 4 viewpoints. So the shared information, by that we mean by the semantic information, which is the action itself, and then the view specific one is where we captured the action from. So if we can obtain a shared feature representation, so now by giving priors about the target view, in this case it could be depth, skeleton, or other modalities, we can combine them using operator psi that approximate the feature representation of the video from the target view. So using this concept, we propose an architecture that implements this view decomposition assumption. So in this example, the architecture is shown for one target modalities, just for simplicity. So each input, in this case, the input view video and the target view modalities are fed into separate encoder, a 3D encoder in this case, in order to have a spatial temporal features. So in order for us to enforce the invariance, the Z, we use, during the training, we have a separate encoder for the target view, and then we penalize using a loss, so that the resulted feature obtained from the encoder from the input view video is invariant to the view information. And in order to implement the operator psi, we extend the convolutional LSTM, and the resulting feature is actually an approximation of the target view video. And now using that feature, we decode it in the pixel space in order to estimate the target view video. So we use other losses. So we a reconstruction loss, an L1 reconstruction loss on the pixels, and also we propose a new temporal loss in order to enforce the temporal consistency. So previously, people used a 2D perceptual loss even for video. So we believe that because the task is action synthesis, so we need a better fit of representation for the perceptual loss. So therefore, we use an I3D model pre-trained on action recognition data set. So in order to implement our hypothesis, we use the NTU RGB dataset, which is the largest synchronized multi-view dataset publicly available to the research community. It has diverse clothing, individual, and views. So for example, here, an action, so for each action is actually captured using 3 cameras simultaneously. So these are one example of qualitative result that we have. So the first, so on the right, the first two, the VDG and the PG2, is actually a post-guided image synthesis models. And we use also a strong baseline, which is a 6-layer 3D ResNet. And the VDNet is the proposed one that implements the view decomposition assumption, where we see first the improvement of the video-based model compared to the image-based model, and also the effectiveness of our approach with regard to the baseline. So in summary, we introduced the problem of novel view human action synthesis. We propose to approach this problem using the view decomposition assumption, and then we implemented using a view decomposition network, which is a deep generative model where the view LSTM actually implements the operator psi that combines the view invariant information and the view specific one that comes from priors. And also we propose a temporal loss, which is an extension of the 2D perceptual loss in the spatial temporal feature domain. Thank you all.